Are you going to be trying to have a meeting with either China's foreign minister or the president at the G20? Is that something that you hope to be able to accomplish?
The reality is Canada sits next to China at the G20 because Canada and China are in alphabetical order. So we'll have on occasions to, moments to engage, and we will do so. And as I said just in French, our approach is principled. We said that we would be challenging when we ought to. We said that we would be cooperating when we must, when it comes to China. China is a global disruptive power, and now we've just outlined exactly how we will engage with China.
Let's ask you on China. You talked about wanting to isolate Russia. As part of your strategy on China and developing relationships with ASEAN countries and that, is to try to isolate China. Maybe not in the same way you're doing to Russia, but trying to isolate China.
I've said that China is a geopolitical risk. I've clearly said also to the business community that they ought to know that when they do trade with China, there is a risk. And my goal is to help them mitigate that risk through diversification, which Mary has been talking about, basically increasing the amount of trade in the region. That's our approach. Meanwhile, we need to engage China on key aspects, particularly when it comes to climate change. COP15 is happening in less than a month in Montreal under the Chinese presidency. The other thing also is the question of nuclear threat is real. And that's why we need to engage China on the question of nuclear. And that's certainly something that I raised with my colleague, obviously from Ukraine, but also from India, which it's important that we send a message to China, to India, that also we engage on the question of nuclear non-proliferation. And finally, of course, we're very concerned about the Northern Pacific, so which is our neighborhood, and the DPRK's action right now, and definitely we need to engage with China on this issue.
Last question.
Minister, you say you want to engage with China on these issues, and they'll be sitting next to you at the G20. After your speech the other day, they came out pretty strongly against you and said that they view what you're saying as interference into Chinese affairs. So have you set the right tone here to talk to them? How concerned are you about their response?
We will engage in dialogue. At the same time, our approach is principled. China now knows how Canada will engage with them. We will always be protecting our national interests, period. And while doing so, we will make sure that we do not compromise our values and principles.